I'm a unit. Unit. I'm a unit. I'm a unitard.
Noticed yesterday from someone where she had posted that she had assembled the dream team, her legal defense team. Normally it's more, the definition of a team is more than one. Mm-hmm. But I'm hopeful that actually what she's posted is true, because then that means if she's got a dream team and I have a dream team, then those two teams can dream together and figure out exactly what, who's liable here. So many people are messaging me and whatever and asking me, are you going to sue her? Are you going to sue her? I've already stated, yes, I am suing her. That is happening. So at the end of the day, we're going to let the system work the way that it's supposed to work. Hopefully this will go in front of a jury and we will point out to a jury exactly what this woman has done to us, us being our family, and the lies that she has reported on and the things that she has told. And not just us, folks. I mean, I found out yesterday as well that there's 2 more lawsuits coming, that there's, someone that she's gone after for a TRO or whatever it's called, or HRO or whatever, that they have now lawyered up and are going to be that they're going to file countersuits against her for this and the abusive way that she has used the system based off of what they have, what they're stating. They're basically stating that she's an abusive litigator, that she uses the system to try to shut people down, and she does all of this because she wants to control the narrative of what's being told about her. But at the end of the day, we don't have to look for defamation anymore. We have it. We've got it 100%. It's locked down. That's coming from attorneys in her home state, as well as attorneys from Georgia that have reviewed everything. We have what we need to prove slander and defamation of character. So we're going to let that go in front of a jury, and then we're going to parade in, literally, folks, probably 100 people that this woman has defamed, harassed, and just placed a false narrative out there so that she can get a click on her YouTube channel so that she gets to make money. We're also, we have an investigator that is investigating everything about this woman. I mean, everything from any GoFundMe's to, money's being paid to PayPal on her behalf and that she supposedly donated to people. We're going to find all that stuff out, and all that stuff comes out in depositions. I guess her attorney has now stated that she is going to fight being deposed. That's okay. We don't care. She wouldn't be the first one and won't be the last one. But she will be deposed, and they will have to fight that because we already have subpoena power. So at the end of the day, that's kind of where we are, but I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to answer questions on Twitter. I'm going to let my attorneys do that. But for all of you who are asking, are you going to sue her? The answer has not changed since day one when I said it.
The last couple weeks have been a shit show out there on Twitter and the internet because we've got new ROs, we've got the claim of new lawsuits and depositions, which are separate things. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this. We've got his claim of defamation by KJP, and I think I know what that's about. Excuse me. And the most interesting thing about this is skeletons from the past are being brought up, but it's getting mixed into the information that's here. So I'm going to try to wrap up the last couple weeks of insanity in one video. All right, the first issue is whether or not KJP defamed Todd Chrisley by stating that he was trying to hold a sex tape over his daughter's head recorded with the puppy cam. The closest I can come to figuring out where this accusation comes from is right here. This is Lindsay Chrisley Twitter, okay? She says, you can do your interviews all you want, but here proves you were involved, threatening me since 2017. Good night. And she links to these tweets from verified Todd Chrisley account. Todd says, sometimes those that lie need to be exposed in order to stop the madness. Hashtag cheated twice. Hashtag thank God for puppy cams. I don't know what the rest of this means. Sue me over the truth. Hashtag psycho. Too funny. Come after me. I don't care. Come after mom. You're over. Watch what you tell when your bed isn't clean. hashtag literally. So he's insinuating she's cheated on someone in their home, literally, because the bed's not clean due to the cheating. And thank God for puppy cams that could have recorded the cheating. Like mother, like daughter. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a liar, always a liar. Truth may cost you your child. I didn't even read that before I started recording. Anyway, this is point number one. That the accusation was put out there by his daughter, Lindsay Chrisley. Okay? Now, I'm not defending KJP here. I'm sure he's got recordings that I can't find. I've been looking for these for a minute of whatever KJP said early on. Remember the Toddy lawsuit? Basically, KJP came out and said, like, yo, I didn't defame Toddy Westbrook. Then a bunch of clips came out where like really messed up things were said. Now, whether or not those things were defamation never got addressed because they settled before it went to Minnesota court. You remember? Okay, good. I don't know if KJP has defamed Todd Chrisley. So I can't hold that opinion. If I don't know what Katie said, if I can't go look at these videos and kind of judge it for myself, then it's up to just these two to hash it out. And what you heard in the video leading up to this, I played Todd Chrisley on his podcast, the most recent one. He's saying that they want to depose Katie. Now, if you're not caught up on all that drama, good, because I'm not either, and I don't want to be. It involves the daughter, Lindsay, speaking or working with some kind of IRS agent or something, and then whether or not Katie reporting on what happened said things that were opinions but represented as true things that defame Todd Chrisley. There you go. See, it's not as easy as it seems to track these stories. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of petty. And just like in the Toddy Westbrook lawsuit, where there was a thing in the background, which was the Swanson lawsuit, could have been because Katie had talked to Swanson and he could have been a source of hers, a reason for the lawsuit. That might be what's happening right here. You know, if he goes out publicly, like Toddy Westbrook kind of did, sues Katie for defamation and slander, gets her to come and give up whatever she has, then the lawsuits go away. And it is a method that we've seen used, right? At least that's people's opinions. And I hold that opinion about the Swanson situation. I don't think it's some horrible thing to say either, though it is my opinion. So let's move forward, because due to the fact that Todd Chrisley has threatened her with a defamation lawsuit, promising to sue Katie, and Katie is drawing a legal team together, but not for Todd Chrisley. So since Katie's being threatened to be sued by several people, and I've got an update for you there, we'll go into it right after this, some of those things she's saying in response to the other lawsuit is getting mixed in with the Chrisley situation, and you can't blame YouTubers and other people for doing this because it's so convoluted and messed up. So let's move into the next situation.
I don't know where that came from. I can't verify that.
What's her name?
I seen this.
Katie Drake Paulson.
Yeah, is that the same
So
Katie?
disgusting.
Katie Paulson? Is that the person who all those kids?
Unverifiable.
Fake shit. We can just.
So the other lawsuit that Todd Chrisley's talking about is the Steve McRae versus Katie lawsuit. This lawsuit has not been filed with the court, just like Chrisley's. I think Chrisley's hasn't because, of course, he's in this other lawsuit and wants to depose her there, then go on to handle the other legal issues with Katie. So why hasn't his been filed with the court yet? Because he served her under what is known as HIP service. HIP service is where you don't file with a judge or a court and you just send notice to the party. It's like Minnesota does this, where you're telling them, hey, I'm going to sue you, but instead of just going to court and filing the suit, I'm going to try to work it out with you by filing HIP service so that we can come to an agreement and not have to waste the court's time. That is what HIP service is, according to Nate the lawyer and other lawyers out there. They've shared the documentation for HIP service. You're more than welcome to go to Nate's Twitter and look it up. Now, many people will then say, so why are so many people just acting like he's sued her already and not talking about the HIP service issue? I don't know. Honestly, she has already come back to acknowledge she's filing countersuit. That could be why. Because she's done that, we will just treat it as if she is countersuing. We'll know soon because she has to respond within a month, I believe. And once she responds to him, that's when they've got 1 year to come to an agreement or go to court. Or it gets thrown out. If nothing happens, it just gets thrown out. Now, you know about the new ROs. because KJP filed RO against Tina I'll Cut You and against LMN. The LMN had a video of her and Nat and this other guy, Dustin or something. You know about all this. I talked about it in an upload. And because of the fact that LMN threatened to off Katie and then say she's literally going to do it, on top of the fact that LMN was coaching Nat through talking to a fake Katie, and that's why Nat went and filed with the Toddy lawsuit. Yeah, I get it. Convoluted as hell, trust me. But because of that, she filed ROs against LMN and Tina I'll Cut You. Now, Tina I'll Cut You did make that threat against KJP. She doxed her inside of the Facebook group with it saying, you know, you think this bitch thinks she's safe. That was what she typed under sharing a picture of Katie's place. LMN made the statement that she was going to literally, you know, off her. And those ROs have been sent out. LMN came back, as most of you know, and they were supposed to go to a hearing. But the hearing was not public like a lot of people are saying it is. The YBI has called, the YouTube Bureau of Investigation, it's a group of people that just kind of watch all this stuff. They called the court and asked if that hearing was private or public. The court told them specifically it was private. Yes, some private hearings get listed on the calendar at the court. And you'll say, then how did so many people try to join LMN's hearing when the hearing was happening? It's because somebody, either Katie or LMN, gave out the documentation, according to Katie, according to her lawyer, and according to the court. They gave out the documentation to this private hearing, and a lot of people, public on the internet, got a hold of that when it began to get shared around and tried to join the hearing. And that's when the judge postponed the hearing to try to investigate, why are all these people trying to join a private hearing? So how could you prove to yourself that it's a private hearing? Because if you look at the top of the hearing papers, it was about the minor child. And of course, because it had to deal with the minor child, it says Katie OBO, the minor child, which means on behalf of, and of course, they're not going to let people from the public just come sit in on an RO that has to deal with the minor child. All of it adds up, all of it makes sense, and all of that happening has led to LMN's, you know, defense, or the ROs did go through for LMN and for Tina I'll Cut You, just like they did a year ago. Now they actually want to show up and defend themselves, not like Steve did. Remember, Steve came to an agreement with KJP. They want to defend themselves, and we'll have to update you later on what happens with that because of the first one being postponed and the second hearing not happening yet. All right. Though the most interesting thing has come out. Katie is saying here that Tina I'll Cut You and Steve McRae both have the same attorney. She says, it's almost like me standing up for myself and protecting my family resulted in me getting sued by somebody else. But that's just my opinion. She says super weird. Obviously, she's being sarcastic. I do think it's extremely meaningful that they're both using the same attorney. And there's been claims put out that these people didn't, you know, they're not operating together. They're all just independent creators. This goes against that narrative. You know, if you're an independent creator, you're definitely not just allowing somebody to use your lawyers to go defend themselves, which it's just insane. Let's look at some of the other things, though, that she's had to say about the PIP service lawsuit, the lawsuit that hasn't been filed with the court yet, involving this other YouTuber. It's hard to call him a YouTuber, but let's take a look. So let me go ahead and address this. It's really messed up when people, just because they hate somebody, want to push out some narrative. They want to say that the FBI is not involved. Unless you want to call Michael Saltz a liar, then yes, the FBI is involved. Michael Saltz has come out to say this, and I will state, for some reason, people want to say that because Katie brings up her own kid, it's okay for all of these people to question his medical disorders and go after him and all this stuff. And of course, I'm going to say, no, it's not okay. Regardless if you hate her or not, or you criticize her or not. I criticize Katie all the time. You know this if you've been watching my channel. And yet, I'm still not going to say you can just sit here and question her kid's medical disorders and play these games. Now, I'm bringing that up, of course, because Todd Chrisley just said that there was GoFundMes and these other things that Katie did that were all fraudulent. I've taken a look into that, and from what I've seen, it's not true. Could it be true? Yeah, it could. So I guess he'll get to the bottom of that. I just really hope he's selective about who he's taking information from, because The anti-KJP community, for some reason, likes to grab at every little thing out there and not focus on the things that really matter. And it screwed them over for a long time in getting anyone to listen to them when it came to certain things that were going on. It's going to happen again, but this time it's going to screw over any chance that these guys have of doing whatever it is they're trying to do. Any chance Chrisley has of going back if some type of ill happened towards them. Again, I've seen that the daughter is the one that put out that claim, and of course Katie reported it, so I can't really get on board with everybody else there. I'm sure there's other things though, so let's just move on. I just think it's crazy that this is still happening. It was just yesterday. People were saying that me and Nate the lawyer were defending KJP and all this shit because we were talking about how messed up it is for these people to be questioning her kids, literally questioning her kid's medical disorder on Twitter yesterday and the day before, just because they're mad at her or they don't like her. And I don't care how much you hate her. If you're going to do that, you're just as bad. You can't do the things that you say you're mad at other people for, or do worse things that you say you're mad at other people for, and then act like you're not equally as bad as you say they are, if you get my drift, right? Anyway, let's move on. And to kind of back up what I've said in the past, you guys know what my opinion is about the manipulation of Nat and the Toddy Westbrook lawsuit. Well, I still hold my opinion. I do think it was an entire group of people working in concert. Why? Because those people worked together for years, and you just expect me to think they stopped working together the minute they started to try to go at Nat when we could still see them working together in public? Sorry, I don't believe it. But one thing out there are these strange Snapchat messages. And now screenshots are coming out that looks like they're from Snapchat that would back up some of that issue. The problem is we're never going to know whether these are real or fake. The only way that we'll know is when Katie goes into her countersuit, she'll subpoena Snapchat, she'll subpoena Twitter, she'll subpoena Facebook, and she'll get actual records. So she'll be able to see things that are deleted, and she'll be able to see the things that are still there. And that's the only time we're going to know. Until then, it's speculation. Can I use this and say it's some kind of proof towards something? No, I won't, because I can't verify this. So let's move on. And after KJP had the hearing, or right before the hearing with LMN, some of you may know about this, but she started to get strange email threats that threatened her to come to some kind of agreement, a cease and desist or something with LMN instead of NRO. It looked the same as the other threats that were sent in the Toddy Westbrook lawsuit and was very strange. And, you know, maybe it's somebody trying to just troll. Maybe it's LMN herself trying to intimidate. Either way, though, just letting you guys know, factually speaking, that there is still these email threats that are coming out now, but instead of being about Katie and Toddy and Saltsy like they were and all these other people, ironically, even McRae was mentioned in those the spoofed emails from the Toddy lawsuit. Very strange. But instead of just mentioning those things now, of course, they've gone on to kind of follow the RO narrative and what they desire from the RO. I just think this has all gone on for so long. It's getting boring. It's getting stupid. And yeah, I do agree that at this point, it being handled in a court of law between those two is the best way to handle it. Let's move on though. Here it is. So this is just an example of what Katie got in email that is continuing this kind of strange, like, threatening behavior. It says, if you remove the RO into a mutual cease and desist, I won't expose you, and I'll give you everything I know about Nat Saltz and EDB. Still the same kind of strange narrative that's been continued from the spoofed emails going forward. Just wanted to show the example because I just talked about it. Also, she's responded to the fact that she's received the HIP service with can't wait to file my counterclaims. The coming weeks are going to be phenomenal. Now, I wanted to wait at least until I saw KJP's countersuit filed in court until I came out to tell you that there was going to be another lawsuit against her. I shot early with Chrisley, damn it, thing, because he had stated on a podcast that he had served her. And then Katie came out to say she wasn't served. Then Chrisley came back and said that he didn't serve her, but he's going to serve her. Now we've got the other side saying that they served her. Then we find out it's HIP service. So HIP service means, no, it's not real service. because if nothing happens, it just goes away in a year. So is there lawsuits right now against Katie, or are they threatened lawsuits? They are threatened until Katie files a counterclaim or until the other side walks into court and actually files it and you've got papers in front of you. Be careful. This is all misinformation. It's all threats. It's all a game that's being played because they feel that they can. Now, Katie's making an extreme amount of money every month. She's been doing really good on YouTube and she's making a butt ton of money. And people may want to hip service her, thinking she might say, you know, it'll be cheaper if I just give you $10K, enter into an agreement with you or something like that. And if Katie does that, if she enters into an agreement after everything that's happened, in my opinion, it just shows she's not serious about all of the claims she's made. Though if she does go to court and she represents herself in court, we'll be watching that case to find out whether the claim she's made is true or whether she's finally going to do something about the threats, the worst things that she's gotten, because I've been pretty strict with all of you. I don't get along with Katie. I criticize the living hell out of her. Why don't I hate her? Because she's a YouTuber. I don't know her. I'm not going to hate a YouTuber. Even the people who I really don't like on the platform, I don't hate them. I don't think you should let other people control you in that way that you can hate them because they're out on YouTube or out somewhere doing what they do. Now, that's different if they're threatening you or if they're doxing you and coming at you in those ways, and I get all the claims that are out there. Hopefully, this goes to court. She files the countersuit, and all of it can be laid to rest in a court of law, because the one good thing about both sides, Katie and Chrisley and McCrazy, is that they all say that they trust what the court determines. They trust the court's determination. So even though I don't get along with her, I hope to God she takes it all the way to court and puts this all on the line, and they get a determination where we can say, okay, that's what happened. Now we finally can move on. Katie can exist on the platform and get criticism on the public things she posts like every other YouTuber. The other side can move on and do what they do, and they don't have to keep worrying about this weird shit that they're constantly doing. And of course, I'm not talking about the anti-KJP community. I'm talking about the specific people wanting to sue her, and it can be over.
I'm a unit. I'm a unitard.